Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I am jumping right in here because what we're going to talk about today is not an ideal wedding day. It's not like where the timeline goes according to plan. There's planners and everybody is just exactly where they're supposed to be at the exact moment. We are talking about a regular wedding day, which is more often where they didn't listen. They didn't want to do a first look. Even though you explained all the benefits of it, they're like, oh, I am traditional and I don't want to do that. It's fine. I don't need to go to cocktail hour. And then after their ceremony, they're looking at you to get done all of their family portraits, all of the bridal party, and the two of them in an hour. And it's absolutely possible, but more often than not, we're left with the last 10 minutes of said hour to do the portraits. So I'm going to teach you what to do in that time so that you will have the most amount of images in a little bit of time. So during this, I am using my absolute favorite lens. I used to be a prime shooter, but I also used to be a Canon girly, but now I am Sony. So I shoot with a7 IVs, and my Sigma lens that I am obsessed with right now is a 28 to 105, and it's a 2.8 lens. So I can shoot an entire wedding day without taking this off. Now, I typically shoot with two cameras. My other one will have something prime, like a 51.2, maybe an 85, just kind of depends on what's going on. But I can do this entire flow that I'm going to teach you with this one lens. And I can do it if I just leave it at like 35 or 50. I don't have to zoom in and out in order to do what I'm going to teach you, but it does help and makes it a little bit faster if you do have a zoom lens. So in order to really get this done in 8 minutes, you have to have an engagement session. I know there are a lot of people that list them on their price guides. It's like, oh, it's complimentary. And then they say, oh, well, can I take this out? And you're like, sure, it's not going to change the price, but sure. And that's because your clients are looking at it as a inconvenience, honestly, especially if they already have some photos from their proposal or something like that. They're like, I don't have to do that. They're looking at, I don't want to go find new outfits. I don't want to do a whole new location and get my hair and makeup done and do all this stuff. Like, that's what they're thinking about. They're like, if I could skip that, let's go ahead and skip it. But this is imperative for both of you. And so when my clients ask, unless there are crazy circumstances, like they're in the military, they're not going to be together, before the wedding, different things like that, my answer is no. No, you cannot take it out. And this is why. Because it is very, very important that I meet with you, that I pose you, that I know that you have a good side, a bad side, or whatever it is before your wedding day. Because I don't want to discuss this then. I want to know before I get there. And you should want me to know that before I get there. And when I explain all this, and I'm like, okay, and then I'm also going to have you do all these different poses. I'm going to walk you through things. And after the engagement session, and once I've edited everything, I have them go through them, pick out their favorites, and then I do those same poses again, because those are their favorites. They'll be wearing completely different outfits, somewhere completely different. It's not going to say, oh, but this is the same photo as my engagement session. That's not going to happen. I know people worry about that, but that's not what's going to happen. They're actually going to be very happy knowing that you have looked at what they look like and what they love and duplicated it again. So engagement sessions are extremely, extremely important. Now I'm going to go over some general, just regular posing things that I need you to take with you if you don't take anything else from this. Number one is do not ever manhandle people into poses for any reason. And this may sound extreme to some of you, like, I'd never do that, but I've physically watched people take people's limbs and mold them into poses. And like, that's the first thing they're doing. Then it's not like they're even trying to have them do it themselves and then coming to help. They're just moving them. Put your hand here and touching them. You don't have to do that. Anything you want any couple to do, you can just move them with your own hands and mirror them. So you'll say, oh, hold right here or turn this way. Worst case, you say turn this way, they turn the wrong way. You say, no, the other way. That's it. It's not as complicated as people try to make it sometimes. So like for the two of you, I'm going to have you just hold each other around the back here. Yep, just like that. It's really that simple. If I wanted them to turn a different way, I will talk to them like this. Now, if it gets to the point where I've told them something 2, 3, 4 times, yes, you can come over and help. And I don't mean like, oh, if her hair is, out of place, don't touch her. Those things, they make sense. And of course, you're always going to ask permission before you start touching people in general, but do not manhandle people into poses. Now, another thing that a lot of photographers don't pay attention to, and some people don't actually know, is the suit jacket is also our responsibility. We pay a lot of attention to a bride's gown. We'll pay attention to the train and every little detail of her. And then we'll ask him to do something and he'll like put his arm up like this. And then his suit jacket's gonna come up. And if we're not paying attention, he's definitely not paying attention. He's focused on what you told him to do. Okay, so it is our job to tell them to unbutton the jacket. Now also, if there are 2 buttons, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons, you never button the bottom button on a suit. It's another thing a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I know that. There are so many people that do not know that. And it's really, really important. I almost didn't get a wedding featured in a magazine because of that small detail. So when I got yelled at by this tailor, I have trauma. So I'm trying to get y'all to avoid the trauma that I went through and just make sure that only the top button out of the 2 is buttoned. Or if there's 3, just the top 2. Now, one of the main reasons that it's important to have an engagement session is because you're going to train your couples to stay in the pose that you put them in until you tell them, okay, we're going to do something different. It doesn't seem like a lot of time, but if they're holding each other and then I'm changing lens, changing anything, and they let go of this pose, it takes extra seconds for them to get back into it and get exactly where you just had them. So you're going to train them, just stay exactly where I'm at. Like y'all didn't even move, and I love that for you. I'm going to have y'all move over just slightly this way though. Perfect. All right, and last little tip that's in general all couples posing is make sure that their facial expressions always match. I don't care what type of pose you're doing, even if they're separated and one's looking this way and one's looking that way, one should not be smiling while the other one's looking off into the distance. These people are not connected in any way, shape, or form. Now, it's different if you have one, kiss the other, where they should just have their eyes closed and then one can smile at the camera and that type of thing. But in general, make sure that their expressions always match. Now, the most important part of an engagement session is the very, very beginning. And it is a conversation that I have with the couples before I ever pick up my camera. So I'm going to find the most beautiful backdrop of the locations that we talked about. And I'm going to say, okay, go ahead, stay here. I'm going to empty out the guy's pockets if he's got anything. We're going to put it away. And then I'm going to have the conversation. So the very first thing that I'm going to go over, and before I get into this works for any couple. It doesn't matter their gender, sexual orientation, any of that. These work for any couple. But today I'm going to teach you about a heterosexual couple, and you can do the exact same things if there's 2 brides, 2 grooms, whatever's going on. But for this heterosexual couple, we're going to go with Jerez. And Jerez, the first thing I'm going to say to you is you have one job today. Your job is to keep your other hand in your pocket. The other one's going to hold her hand, do something like this. But you're going to keep this other hand in your pocket. That's all you have to do today. That's not necessarily true. I'm probably going to ask him to do some other things. But the first thing that he'll do is relax a little bit. Because he's like, oh, okay, I can do that. Because he's already nervous because men don't know how to pose. They don't know what to do at engagement sessions. So if you tell them that, that's going to lower their stress level. People are always like, oh, what do you do if someone's nervous? We start there by letting them know you have very little to do. Now for you, there are going to be some things for you to do, Monet. At some point, we'll walk, and when you do that, you're going to put one foot in front of the other, okay? And the reason that I instruct them to do that is we naturally just walk like this, but I want to catch her in a stride here, because this is going to make her leg look longer, make her body do a whole bunch of little different things just by that. Now, there are some people who would teach you, oh, Tell them to walk on a tightrope. That is the absolute last thing I ever recommend you do, because then they're really in their head and not here with you or him. Okay. So if you say a tightrope, then they're literally trying to stay on the rope. Just trying to get it in front of the other is enough. Now, I'm also going to have you face each other. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Now in this gown for her, you can't really tell too much of a difference. But when y'all face each other, I'm gonna have you wrap your arms around each other. So get a little closer. And of course, this is going to be very different than a normal couple. They don't love each other. They just met each other like 20 minutes ago. But when they stand, oh, come this way. In the corner. Yeah. But when couples stand up, I always have the woman shift her weight away from me. So it's not bending a knee, because if you say bend a knee, a lot of times you'll end up with this, and this is not what we're going for. But if they keep their feet together, and you can shift your weight, back and forth either way, right? So I'm always going to have her shift her weight away from me, because everything in a camera that goes further away gets smaller. So if you take your waist and you shift it away from the camera, it's going to get smaller. And she does it the other way, she's going to look bigger. And if she wants to try to suck in, which she don't have to suck in nothing, but if anyone wants to suck in, it's going to make you bigger here instead of here. And people can't even tell whether you're sucking in or not from here. It also is going to naturally bend this knee just slightly enough that it gives her a shape, so that when they're standing face to face, he's going to be standing straight up and she'll have a little shape with that little tiny movement. I also tell every single bridesmaid this trick, and I tell them exactly why to do this. So when standing up there with their bouquets, they're going to shift their weight backwards. The knee's going to show in the dress here, and they'll look good. They will appreciate that coming from you, because they're like, oh, they care about what I look like. So definitely share that tip. So I go over these things, and then I will typically ask them if they have any insecurities. This is the most important part. So I say, do you have a good side, a bad side, something that you want to hide, you're insecure about? You're going to look at these photos later and say, I'd like this, but this. The reason that I ask that question ahead of time is so that I have permission to address whatever that insecurity is. So if we just start the session and we're just shooting and I tell them to laugh and she starts laughing and she goes backward and she's like, ha ha ha. And I'm like, oh girl, like we want to go forward, and she's going to know that I saw her double chin, and she's going to start to spiral mentally. She's going to start to think about what she needs to do to make sure that that doesn't happen again, instead of it being placed in my lap. Even if I'm saying, oh, going forward, I'll help you with that, she's still thinking about it. But if I ask her now and I'm like, hey, what is it that you're insecure about? And she says, oh, my double chin. Then when we're doing something and I'm like, oh girl, we want to do this, she's like, oh, thank you. Not, oh God, she noticed that I have the double chin and all this is going to go in her brain. She will be grateful that I addressed that. Now you can't ask what the insecurity is and then not make sure that you're making her look her best either. So that's really, really important, that if she tells you something, you have to make sure that you address it. So of course, if it is a double chin, all I do is I ask pretty much everyone anyway to stick their chin out like a turtle. And I tell them that they're going to feel weird, but it will look great, right? And then so with this little trick of shifting the weight backwards, that allows me to be like, oh yeah, if you want to go ahead and suck in, like you can do that. I can say that because she told me, yeah, girl, my stomach, I'm really worried about this. So she's just grateful. All right. And so from there, then we're going to get started with the session. And that's before I pick up my camera. They already know, one, I know what I'm doing. I want to make sure that they look great and that they're comfortable. So they're not going to turn the session into, oh, can I go over there and do this? And, oh, I seen this pose over here. Can we do this? They're not going to take over the session in any way, shape, or form, because I'm already in control and they're going to trust me to make sure that they look the best that they can possibly look. All right, so now we're going to go into how we initially start the actual session with the camera now. So I'm gonna have y'all hold each other in the back again. And scoot over to the paper for me. Yeah, just like this. All right, so hand in your pocket. Oh, yeah, let's go. All right, look, I'm just going. I didn't even think about it. Because, I mean, they look good over there, but it will look much better with this light. Woo!
Do like just...
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. Yay.
Yep, perfect. All right. So this is still during the engagement session, right? So the very first thing that I will do is what I call my parent pleasers. These are the pictures that the parents will want because they really don't want a picture of them even remotely looking like they're making out, anything overly romantic. They're not going to print that and put that on their desk, but they will print these. So you can actually turn towards them a little bit and put your hand on his chest. Oh, the other hand. So keep holding him. Yep. And then put your hand on his chest in the middle here. Yep. Right there. All right. So what I'm gonna have you do is both of you look straight at me and smile. Hold on. We got a couple. No, it's not gonna stay down, is it? Did you put something in that? Mm-hmm. It's sticking up. All right. I'll figure it out later. Yep. All right. So look here and smile, smile. Don't, not model smile. We're going real smile. There we go. All right. So we got this one. And then now don't move. But Monet, you're going to look at Jerez. Jerez, look at me. Smile. Perfect. And now we're going to switch. So you look at her. You look at me and smile. There we go. All right. So between these are the parent pleasers. Now, of course, you can do the cropped in and you can do full body as well, especially if you have the zoom lens. You can just zoom right out and get wide. But from here, that one that's on the screen right now, that is a photo that her mom will love. It don't matter how much she loves him. She's looking at this like, but do you see my baby girl? It's right there. Now, his parents want this photo because that's their baby. And the focus of the photo switches automatically depending on who's looking at the camera. So then you also start with them both looking. Between these three, they didn't move at all, but we got three very different photos. If I had done wide and done some horizontal real quick, could have fit those in and had a whole bunch of different options with the parent pleasers. But this is what I start with for engagement sessions, is also what I start with for weddings. So if we don't have anything else, at least they did look at me and look at each other real quick and we got those done. It doesn't take a lot of time. Now I'm going to go over what I call LASH. So LASH is my variation for no matter what pose you're already doing, it'll give you some variations within the pose. Because a lot of times people have their poses down, but then they put them in a pose, they take a couple pictures and they're like, and then they go into a whole different pose instead of just doing little micro variations within the pose that they're already in. So the acronym LASH is like just like LASH, it's just like eyelashes. Okay, so L is for laugh. Now there are a lot of people who will teach you different prompts and things and have them say different things to each other, ask them questions. I personally don't have time for this, especially not in what we're talking about, because we got to keep going, right? So I'm literally just going to have them look at each other and laugh. That's it. Haha, it's so funny. Ha 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 ha. Yep, so funny. Now, most of the time, that's exactly what I say and how I say it. I just fake laugh. I don't know if they're laughing at me, fake laughing, at each other, fake laughing, but eventually they real laugh within a couple seconds. So that is something that you can easily do really quickly. Now, you said what? Oh my God, I'm not repeating that. All right, so that's L for laugh. A is almost kiss. So in the beginning, I will typically tell them that if I tell them to kiss, it sounds self-explanatory, but it's not going to be that simple during the session. And that's because if I tell them to kiss, they're going to go straight forward. When they go straight forward, their noses are going to touch and bend in a little bit. And then they're going to pucker their lips to get their lips to the other person. So their faces end up looking like this, which is not flattering on anybody, but people do it all the time. So I don't allow them to do that. And for this couple, I would always have the woman, turn her face towards me so I can see all the makeup, the eyelashes, all the things, and he's gonna go the other way. And it's not like super dramatic, it's just that instead of straight forward, it's bent a little bit. So that way they can get pretty close, they can smile right here, and then they could kiss right after without having to pucker in any way, shape, or form. Their lips will just be able to come together. No, they're not kissing at all. So once again, they just met and are not down for that, but we're gonna try almost kiss. So you're gonna look at each other. Okay, not y'all let go. At least hold each other a little bit. Right in there, okay. Yep, right here. So you're going to tilt your head slightly and get kind of close. Oh yeah, that's good. All right, and then you can smile. It's weird, but it looks beautiful. All right, from there, they could kiss and it would look natural. Nobody's faces would be smushed in any way, shape, or form. That's the almost kiss. All right, and y'all can relax with that. All right, so that's A for almost kiss. And then S is for smile, or what I call slay. So obviously they can smile different ways. They can look at each other. They can smile off and just be like smiling off into the distance, whatever your vibe is, however you have them smiling, you can do that. You can also use S for slay. So it could be where they are, actually take a step away from him. Both of y'all face me this way. Hold hand, just the hand right here. Yep. And then I'm gonna have you, give me a little hip here. Yep. And then place your hand here. And then what I'm gonna have, oh, over here. Not over here, over here. Yep, just right here. All right. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you look into the different directions. Yep. Now, I'm gonna take this picture so I can show you what not to do. So look those ways. Let me do this one. Now, for her eyes are going too far. So you have to pay attention to that because you'll get home and all you'll see is white in the eyes when you have them looking off. So what we're gonna do is make sure that she keeps her eyes level with her chin. So she's moving her face here. She's gonna look straight ahead, just over into this direction. Because a lot of people will look over and then they'll take their eyes further. And we don't want all this white in here.
You got a question in the chat when you're ready.
Yeah, what's up?
So Steve is asking from early this morning too. Poses for couples with extreme height variations, especially when the groom is shorter than the bride. How do I help out the short kings?
The short kings. Okay, step one, the short kings know they are short kings. We always kind of like tiptoe around it, but I always ask them, I'm like, how comfortable are you with the fact that she's much taller than you? Like, do you want me to put you in poses where you look like you're the same height or a little bit taller? So I ask that question because some of them are like, I don't care, I'm fine down here. And then I do exactly what I would normally do because I'm not gonna change anything different and make them feel uncomfortable. Because then it's more like I feel more uncomfortable about him being short than he does. But if he's like, oh no, like you can do whatever, I can look like the same height. All we can do is a lot of sitting poses. And then also if there's any steps where he can be on a step above, then we can do that. And then also if they're walking, I always have him lead her because once again, whatever is closer to the camera is going to be bigger. So he's going to appear a little bit bigger than she is if she's behind him in one of those walking shots, like coming towards the camera. Hopefully that answered all that question. Is there any other ones before I keep going? No? Okay, cool. All right, so now I'm going to have you turn your chin this way and yep, perfect. And you're going to turn your chin that way and look straight with your chin. So it makes a huge difference between this one and that one. Y'all see the difference in her eyes? All right, and that's something only we can pay attention to because she's looking where she was told to. She's not paying any attention to that, so we have got to do it for her. All right, so that is S for slay. They can smile, slay, whatever your thing is, even if they're separated and looking off into the distance, think about S in your variations. And then H is for heads. So they can do a lot of different things with their heads. They can face each other, put their foreheads together. That's what we're gonna do. So face each other real quick. All right, put your foreheads together. Close your eyes, breathe in and breathe out. So when you tell them to breathe in, breathe out, that naturally relaxes them because that relaxes anybody, right? Oh, see, and then now she started smiling. Y'all see that? You see how they're not connected right now? Where he is all solemn and she's smiling. You're probably laughing at
To
me.
be fair, he's
It's
getting
just my
married.
phone.
I'm just saying, to be fair.
You said what?
He's getting married, so to be fair,
You know what?
it's
Absolutely not. Absolutely not an excuse. He should be happy. It's his fault. He did this. All right. So you can actually, both of you can smile with your head still together. Give him that actual smile, Jerez. There we go. That's cute. All right. And now no smile, so just breathe in and breathe out. All right. So they can do this and you can relax. You don't have to stay in that pose. But they could bring their heads together. You could have one look towards you and smile, and he can bring his head to her, like just leaning on it. She can put her head on his chest. Like there's a lot of different things that you can do with their heads. It's just a matter of you thinking. So once they're in a pose, you think, did I have them laugh yet? Did they almost kiss? Do they smile? Do I want them to like slay and look off into the distance? Or what do I want them to do with their heads while they're already in this pose? So that's LASH. Any questions about that before I keep going? No? Everybody good?
they're asking what lens you're using.
Oh, that was in the beginning. So the lens that I'm using today is my 28 to 105. It's a 2.8 Sigma Art lens, which I'm obsessed with.
And what focal length are you shooting at right now? They're asking.
That's a good question. I think this last one was 42-ish. Yep, 42.7. So I'm just zoomed in a little bit. So somewhere in the middle. All right, he answered all of that.
Got a lot of short guys in this chat, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
They're all like really excited about this right now.
I see. And someone said, I'm 5'10" and she's 6 foot. Okay, first of all, that's only 2 inches different. So, I mean, honestly, she could wear flat shoes for the wedding and you could wear regular shoes and y'all will probably be the same. And then also with that little switch of her weight, she'll be even shorter. So y'all might be right around there, but there's not that much difference. She said, I'm false claiming to be a short king. Is that what he's doing? They paying him no mind. All right, so
That's getting belligerent.
yeah.
It's all right.
Oh man. All right, so now I'm gonna teach you what I call the pose of all poses. So after you do the parent pleasers, especially at a wedding, I'm going to put them in what I call the pose of all poses. It's very, very simple, but it makes it so that you can do a lot of different images in a little bit of time. So I'm gonna have you face each other, wrap your arms around each other. You're gonna bring your arms up here. Now, take a second, we're gonna talk about the bouquet. So this bouquet just kind of comes out this way. But even if it was circular, it is our responsibility to make this look the best that it can look. So if she's holding it straight forward, she's gonna hold it and tilt it towards the camera a bit, especially if it's a circle. That's to make sure that this is what the florist has worked on. So I know a lot of people would do like dips or have them walk, and they'll just like let them do this. Florists call this lightsabering, and they hate it because they worked really hard to make this bouquet. So if it goes like this, it's not showing anything, that all the work that they did. And it's also not gonna help you in this photo. So you wanna make sure that if you have them doing anything even remotely like this, that you put the bouquet in their hands this way so that it is showing towards the camera. They are not gonna think about this. It has to be something that we think about. So in this pose of all poses, I'm going to have her hold this here, right behind. I'm actually gonna have you take your hand and put it on his like elbow down here. Yep, right there is good, perfect. So the bouquet is gonna be right here on his upper back, and then they're facing each other, and y'all can actually just look straight at each other for a second. Before, ooh, I think you're stepping on it, Boo. There you go, yep. All right, before you start, you're going to fluff the train all the way out here. There's not actually much of a train on this one, but, and the veil as well. And then this, as simple as this is the pose of all poses. This is the one that you're gonna put them in when you find the one place that you're going to take these photos. When you only have 8 to 10 minutes, you don't have time to move them all around the venue. They know that. So you have to say, what is your absolute favorite part of this venue? Like what background is most important to you? And then you'll go there. And so if you want to split this up in half and do some here and they have 2, you can do it, but you got to make a game plan at the beginning. So you know exactly how many to do here, split it up, run over to the next place, do that, and then run inside. But this pose right here, if back up. If I took this wide, we're going to pretend that this is their beautiful venue with a fountain behind them and all of the gorgeousness. Oh, I got cut off his head. Oh, because the thing's in front of it. Okay, that's fine. All right, and I can't back up anymore. And the difference between this, some couples will look like this, but you have to make them come a little bit closer. So just for this for a second, I'm gonna have y'all bring your noses closer together and smile right there. Yep. The difference between this one and this one, or I didn't realize your eyes look like that. Jesus. Let me take another one. All right, back up from each other like you did before. Like bring your faces away from each other. We're showing what not to do. Yep, right there. Just look at each other though. Yep. All right. So maybe I should move this down. Move this down here. All right. The difference between this and this is big. It's a huge difference, and a lot of couples will just do this. It is our job to have them bring it closer. I just say bring your noses close to each other. So if this was the only shot that I did for the day, right? The venue's behind them. This was all I did. Every single vendor is well represented in this photo, except the caterer and the DJ. Because in this photo, we can see the bouquet, we see the venue behind them, we can see his suit, we can see the gown, her hair and makeup, everything is represented. So you want to start here, just in case something happens and you run out and have even less time. So we're going to start here, and then it's just a matter of you moving your feet and or your focal length. So if I start wide, I have them stay exactly where you're at. So I'm gonna have y'all look at each other, bring your noses close together. From here, without even really moving, I can zoom in and do a different angle here. I can do vertical. I can come to the side a little bit. Let me have you hold that bouquet up a little higher. So you can come from here, and then I'm gonna have Monet look this way. Yep, you're gonna look down with your eyes. And I say her eyes because if I tell her to look down, she will take her chin down, which is not what we want. We want her chin to be up, but we want her eyes to be looking down. Because from here, do that. From right here, I'll be able to see all of her makeup by her doing that. So with that, we have the flowers in the foreground, we have her hair and her makeup and a little bit of her gown. And all I did was change slightly and move up. So from here, I could come from a different angle. Jerez, let me have you. So typically I would have him kiss her shoulder. I'm not gonna have him do that, but pretend, get your head close to your shoulder right here. From right here, I could shoot this, right? And I could shoot, if I did it wider, it would have all of the back of her dress here, the veil, a little bit of the flowers in here, and it would also be beautiful. These are little bitty changes, and you can stand up. You don't have to keep pretending to do that. Little bitty changes without them actually physically moving their feet. So it's just a matter of adjusting their pose so slightly and then moving your feet. Because on top of this, if I could back up more, I would be able to do some like from a little bit lower and do a different angle. I can do from much higher and take this without moving. So once you put them in this pose of all poses, I recommend shooting all around them and changing micro things within their pose. So from here, I can actually I'm gonna tuck that in a little bit. I can even do a little veil swoop. You can stay right where you're at. All right, and just look at each other. So from here, same pose, nobody has moved. I can bring this out, snatch it back, and do a swinging veil. There's so many things you can do without them ever even moving. So to do the 48 and 8 flow, you're always going to start with the pose of all poses, move your feet, and shoot different angles without them moving physically. That's the very first one we're gonna do. And then I also do veil shots. Now, veil shots are always included in the 48 and 8, regardless of whether she has one, because I bring one. I always have a veil in my camera bag. And that's because, to me, I absolutely love veil shots. But even if I didn't, if you are shooting different things and you're not really happy with the venues that you're shooting, say you're shooting at like barns and you're more into chandeliers and you might not want anyone to know where you're at right now, if I do under the veil shot, then no one knows where we are, which is actually what we're gonna do real quick. I'm gonna take this from you. Now, I always recommend not having any flowers in under the veil shots. They end up being more distractions from the whole point is to show like the romantic lovey-dovey part in here. And then also most of the time they end up being a little bit closer to the camera and then making them look small. It just does a little distortion thing. I also always make couples just hold each other around their waist, both of them. So I won't leave her hands here. I'm gonna have you put them around his waist too. So it almost gets to the point where they don't have arms. They don't need them for this, because what happens if I had left her arm here and her hand was here and I went under to do the veil shot, her hand is going to appear bigger than them. And that's not what we want. So I'm going to throw this over y'all and I'm going to be under it as well. Now, when you do the under the veil shots, there you go, sorry. When you do under the veil shots, I don't recommend anything tighter than a 40. So I really recommend 35, 28, 24, anything like that, because you want to have it pretty wide. You want to make sure that there's plenty of veil on both sides, because that's what makes it dreamy. If you have it too tight, it'll just be them with a little bit of the veil on either side. It's not going to make it magical.
They're asking what focal length you go for under the veil.
So I typically go for 35. That would be my go-to. But with this lens, I could easily go to 28 without barely moving. All right, so I'm gonna have y'all look at each other here. I also don't recommend for people to have the auto eye focus on under here and to manually put your focus on her eye. And that's because the camera seems to like bounce around a lot. Oh, it came all the way out, huh? That's fine. Yep, the comb is over there. Just fine. All right, go ahead and just look at each other and smile. Get a little bit closer. What do you, smile, don't hold it in. That's not helpful. There you go. Now, I'm at 28 right now. I'm gonna go to 35. And another thing I want you to make sure of is if she had a strapless dress, it is really important to make sure that you include even just a little tiny bit of her dress here, because it's really easy for them to appear like they're naked. He has a full-blown suit, and then she has just skin out here. It's not what we're going for. All right, so now I'm gonna have y'all try that almost kiss thing. Y'all are pretty close, but come this way, Monet. Okay, looking at each other. Y'all got it. Yep, that's perfect. All right, put your forehead together. Yep, close your eyes, breathe in and breathe out. Smile right where you're at. Yeah, perfect. All right, so have you come out of here. Ooh, goodness. All right. You all right?
I'm great.
Okay, good. All right, so that it's pretty easy. You just throw it over them and then make sure of all the different things. No arms, hands out here, that type of thing. And then just have them focusing on each other. They can almost kiss, they can do everything. They can even laugh underneath this veil. So you can literally do lash under here. I'm gonna put this back. All right, so we start with the pose of all poses, move our feet, change the little angles that we're shooting at, then we'll do veil shots right after. From there, I would typically have them hold hands. So I'm gonna have y'all just hold a hand, and then I have them walk towards me. As they walk towards me, I will have them look at me and smile, and then I'll tell them to look at each other and smile. Already two very different pictures. And then, so take a couple steps forward, just like 1, 2, yep, right there. And then what I'm gonna have y'all do is you're gonna lean over and bring your foreheads together. Yep, right there. This is still a very different pose than the other ones where they were holding each other and she had her arms around. This is still very different. So between here, I'd have them walking, looking at me, looking at each other. And then now they stopped and had their own little intimate moment. And then I can have the, his face, he's enjoying it. All right, and then I have them turn around and walk away. So actually I'm gonna have y'all do that. Swoop around this way. Yep. All right, so with them turning around, now when you walk away, I'm gonna have y'all look toward each other, so make sure that I can see the sides of your faces here. So just take a couple steps that way, but look at each other right there. So this is still a very different pose than them coming forward and everything else that we've done. Very little amount of change, but this is gonna make sure I get her whole back of her dress. And then from here, I can even do another little tweak, right? So Monet, I'm gonna have you look towards me. Give me this knee here, yep. And you're gonna look down with your eyes. And then Jerez, go ahead and just put your head up over, like next to her head over there. Yep, right there. So typically I would have him like kiss her on her temple, that type of thing. Get a little bit close, put your head over there. There you go, right there. Yep. So from here, especially if I was able to do it wider, type, vertical, horizontal, I can catch a whole bunch of this completely different than everything else that we've done. From here, I would typically go around them and have them run towards me because running and walking give very different facial expressions. And it's not like literally sprinting, but even just a little jog, they have a different facial expression and their clothes just move a little bit different than the walking and the smiling. So we always start with, oh, and let me make sure that I show you this. When I have them walk away, this is where I will hand them the bouquet backwards. So I'm gonna have you hold it just like that. So that way, when I shoot them this way, face more that way for right now though, I will still be able to see the bouquet. Otherwise, she'll hold it straight down or whatever. Who knows what it'll look like because she's not paying any attention. She's just doing what I told her to do. But I put it here so I can still include the bouquet in as many photos as I possibly can. All right, so now if you run out of time here, we've already got plenty of images. We've got the parent pleasers, we've got the pose of all poses and you moving around. We have under the veil, we have walking toward you, looking at you, looking away, turning that way, walking that way, stopping, doing another one, and then they can go inside. That alone is a lot of images in a little bit of time. Now, if you have extra time, I will teach you a couple poses that I always mix in so that it really adds some pizzazz to the overall gallery. So I'm gonna switch you, turn back around for me. Right here. All right, so the first one I'm gonna teach you, I'll take this, is the twirl. So it's as if she was going to physically twirl around. But I'm not gonna have her do that. She could in this dress because it's not a huge train, but regardless, I tried to avoid actually having them do that because more often than not, they have a lot behind them. So to avoid that, I will hand them a piece of their train. Now I typically go in the middle of the train here where the seam is. I don't hand them the very end of it. Because if I hand them the end and they're swinging it around, you're more likely to see a tag and the inside of the dress, which is most likely dirty by this point. So you're always gonna hand it about maybe like a foot into it, like just like this. So you're gonna hold just like that. If you want the bouquet to still be in this photo, I always hand it to the groom. So I'm gonna have you hold this with his hand, just like that. And you're gonna take a step away from each other, both, just like that. So you're gonna hold your hands up like this. Oh, not that one, these two. So let go of that situation and you're gonna do like this, as if she was gonna twirl. Yep, just like that. So from here, what you're gonna do is you are gonna keep your arm down, but you're gonna swing the dress out and back in. You're only moving your body slightly. So it's out and in, okay? But I don't want you to stand still and just do this, okay? So you gotta come out and then swing back in. Now, when I do this, I always turn on high-speed continuous. That way I have a lot of options as she's throwing the dress around. It will give me a lot of options. So I'm gonna go ahead, back up and shoot this real quick. Now, when we do this, you can take a little bit of a step away from him. Yep, right there. Now, if his jacket wasn't unbuttoned, it would have definitely come up. So make sure in this pose to pay attention to that. And I just want you two looking at each other and smiling. And you're gonna throw that dress around. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna tell you, go ahead and go. Swing it, girl, swing it. Yep. Yep, all right, you can stop right there. All right, so obviously not all of these are gonna be perfect, but as long as we can find one in here, I mean, this is okay. Nah, I wanna keep going. All right, I want you to throw it there. I'm gonna bring it back and throw it back around, okay? Did you lose the spot? Okay, I'm coming. Oh, let go. There we go. All right, hold right there. Oh, wait, it's showing underneath. Yep, right there. All right. I kind of like that. So remember to move your body out and bringing it back into. All right. So smile at each other and swing that thing, girl. Swing it. I don't even have it on high speed. I have it on mid speed, but oh, that's good. Oh, I like that. Okay, you can stop. So I personally love this. This shows like the movement of the dress, and I'm sure we have some other options in here. All of this is really pretty. It doesn't take a lot of time. They're standing still, it's just a matter of handing them this and telling them what to do with it. So that will add a little extra to it. Yeah.
Do you say hypothetically say if you don't have a external flash on hand, that light can substitute for your shots?
So repeat. Okay. So he asked if I don't have like an external flash on hand, if this light is going to replace it, right? So typically, or the hope is that this is natural light. This is outside after. Now, if it's not possible for you to do 48.8 with off-camera flash. It just is, it isn't. Because you have to move it too much unless you have it. If you have an assistant, the light that can do all the things, then yes. But you by yourself, just with the light, it's not gonna happen. You can get close, you can get a lot of different things with the variations, but no. And that's why I didn't even talk about lighting in this, because I already had to go all of these things. So just having them lit up, we're pretending that the sun is out and it's just so beautiful.
I would say it's beautiful in here personally.
I mean, it is. It is gorgeous. All right, so yeah, so that was the twirl. And then I would just go over the dip real quick for you. So I'm gonna take this for now. You can have this in her arm as she dips and hold it this way if you want to, but it's not necessary. It's completely up to you if it's worth it. So what I'm gonna do is teach you. I don't want you to do it yet, okay? And typically I will go over this during the engagement session too. So when I say, oh, remember that dip, they'll remember and go right into it. But I'm going to have you're gonna stand behind her and you're going to face this direction. Okay? I'm gonna bring this back. Make sure that when you do the dip that the train is laid out this way. So what's gonna happen is you are going to wrap your arms around her back and around her waist this way, okay? So yeah, you'll do that. Don't do it yet. So when you do it though, you're going to bend at the waist. This is what's really important. So you're going to bend here, okay? Where people go wrong is they shift their weight all onto this leg here and do it like this. That means everyone's weight is right here on. Instead of being recruited from the back, where if you do it like this, it's gonna recruit all these muscles. So you're going to wrap your arms around her back and around her waist and then dip this way. Now when you do that, you're gonna bring your nose kind of close to hers, okay? Now you are going to hold around his waist. Okay, so turn this way and hold around his waist or ahead of time. Yes, a lot of brides will try to do around the neck. That is not gonna make them feel secure. They're gonna feel like they're falling. So you have to tell them to hold around the waist. Now he's gonna hold you, but when you go back, you're gonna stick your leg closest to me. You're going to pop it out and you're going to point it. That is an imperative part of this, because if she does this and then her foot is like this, it's gonna ruin everything. So she has to point it forward, okay? And so when he bends you back this way, you're gonna bring your noses close together and I'm gonna have you just take your hand and lightly just touch his face. That's it. So I'm gonna have you go underneath the veil so you don't pull on her. Yep. Oh, I think you're stepping on it. There you go. Yep, just like that. Let's see if we got enough room here. All right, y'all ready to try it out? Make sure you're holding her back and her waist so that she feels secure. You ready? You got it? All right, well, let's show me something then. Jerez, let's do it. All right, now, let's go. Oh my God, you do not have it. You did not do, he did not do what I told him to do. He literally kept his hands together and then threw her backwards.
Do not kill a model in my space.
Right.
All right.
You said you had it. That's why I said, when you're doing this, hold her back and then around her waist so that she will feel like you, yes, like that. And then you're going to use your upper body, bend that way. Okay? And she was right to not feel secure. She was like, oh God, I'm not ready.
You got to get an insurance policy first before we go for that.
Yeah, something. You still, what you doing? Okay, all right, okay. Go ahead, dip back.
Dial 911.
Look at her and bring your nose, stand up. Jerez. This is not what I told him to do. This man tilted like this and lifted up a foot off the ground. He literally is on the way to making sure both of them go this way. Bend your waist. You are, yes, you are. You are definitely showing that. You have to bend your waist and do here.
You're a little teapot.
Oh
Enjoy
my God, you still lifted your foot up, Jerez.
My foot up or what?
Don't.
Oh, I thought you said that. You said that's imperative. Oh, she's doing that.
That's for her. You only,
I thought you were talking to me.
nope, your instructions were over after just hold her and bend at the waist. That's it. She got what she's doing, but she don't feel safe enough to even begin to lift up a leg or touch your face.
They're praying in the chat. I just want you to know that. I just want you to know.
Literally. Okay, come on, Jerez. Show me that you got it. Let's go. Bend at the waist and dip her that way. Let's go. Go. Oh, okay, we got it. All right, straighten that leg out for one. Yep. All right, go ahead and stand up. That's good. Okay, yeah, and we're not going to be picky here because I really don't want her to grab the back of his neck, but we ain't got time to worry about that. Yeah, it looks so much better than what we had before.
Get married now. Let's go.
Oh my God. But just the twirl and the dip will just add a little pizzazz to the very end of your photos. But if you just do what we went over with the pose of all poses, veil shots, the walking this way, walking away, alone will get you a lot. And if you have time to add in different things, fantastic. But that is the flow to get 48 poses in 8 minutes. Yeah.
All right.